Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share the code, Python code with you. The Python code that embed SQL statements in Python graphical user interface. This code can do first connect the local MySQL server and then get the list of the database already created. And then this graphical user interface program allows you to select one of those databases. Within that database, we can issue SQL statements and then get the result back. That is what this code can do. As you first of all, we need to import tkinter, particularly ttk. What ttk can do is to make a drop-down menu. That drop-down menu is available from ttk. And also, we have to include MySQL connector, particularly connector module. We call that con for simplicity. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is to see here. There's all a few function definitions till here, and then below this there is a graphical the layouts. So we first get an object of the tk. So tk is the global container. We call that top container, and we can make the size of the container 800 times 500, and we assign the title. Within the top container, we have two frames. Frame is another container. Actually, tkinter provides you either frame, the class, or canvas. If you want to draw on your Python graphical user interface, then you need to use canvas. That canvas emulates, for example, if you have motion program, moving object program, then you can do that. And also you can draw some of the graphics. That is also possible in Canvas. One of the books that I wrote about Python describes a lot more about Python tkinter modules. Basically, examples are in two ways: a frame or canvas. Of course, there is a combinations of a frame and canvas together. So those who wants to read more about the Python graphical user interface, you may be able to refer to that book. If you type in Amazon John Yoon Python, the keywords, 3 words, John Yoon Python, then you may be able to find a list of the books that I wrote. The book that I am talking about here is Python. Okay, but anyway, so we divide the top container into two frames. Top frame is called upper F. Lower frame is lower F. The size of that is 700 by 200, upper ones, and the lower ones is 1100 by 250. This upper frame and lower frame although we name upper and lower, this code doesn't not understand until we say upper one is top row, and then lower frame is the second row from top. In this way, this frame, the first frame, will sit on top of that container, and then the lower frame will sit on the second row in that container. When this frame sits on the first row, we want to push that the graphic objects to the left, west side. W means west. You want to stick to the left end of that container, then you need to do W. Usually, I put, as I the cascade multiple graphics components on the same row, then I stick to the left. So they can do, first one comes to the left boundary, and the second object stick to next to that, and the third one stick to the next to that. Then you need to put sticky equals W. And then finally, we can connect to the database. Okay, hard-coded database like this, and then get the cursor. And then we select, this is a default database name, CyberDB. This CyberDB can be updated in, for example, here, in the drop-down menu that lists the current the databases that can be listed in that drop-down menu, so that we can select that one of those things, and then we call that we make this variable as a global variables, not only effective within this function, but whatever user clicked, that the database clicked by user will be recognized throughout all the programs. That is global. To make this global, then we need to first make a default here, and then we fetch databases, and this is on top. We make a label. Label has text, select a database, and this label sits on, for example, here, that grid on, right here, label is on the upper left, upper frame, in the upper frame, remember that frame that we make here, upper frame, and I make a label. This is the first objects on that the frame, so that even in one frame we can make a multiple row, but within that frame, top row and the first column, still within that first column, I want to stick it to left. This label is called this name, this variable, and that is placed in the grid layout. So it has a rows and column designations. And then here, remember the TTK module that we imported here? TTK module. So that gives us a combo box which sits upper frame. Values that feed into that drop-down menu is from databases. This database is a variable contains the return value from this function, fetch underscore databases. That function defined here, fetch databases. Then we execute. This is the database language, right? in MySQL, we say show databases. And the cursor dot execute, then that cursor points to the result of that show databases. So that cursor is a file pointer, has the method called the fetch all. Whatever this cursor file pointer points to, all of them will be fetched in a list, and I want to get them in a list and return that list. So show databases as we did manually, then you can see the list of databases that can be placed in that menu, drop-down menu. Same thing, that menu on the same row, but the second column stick to the left. And user click that. Why don't I run that once, show to you. So Python SQL underscore simple GUI. Okay, this is the one, right? So right here, combo box. This the combo box bind a function. That function has a drop down list tables. So first we have to choose here. Database needs to be choose. So there are many databases available. Okay, so for example, CyberDB, if I click that, which means then it goes to, there's an event occurs because I clicked, right? Then it goes to drop-down list table, here, drop-down list, and the global database. One of the database is clicked, and then that database name is sent to another function, fetch tables. So here, fetch table. That database name, given that database name, we can do database command here. Use the specific database. And then we can do show tables. Remember, these all the database command are the commands that we manually use when we use MySQL. So show tables, then the cursor objects points to the list of the available tables. The table list is returned to the caller. Then it comes here, the returned. I think that's it. So it returns. Oh, this is not. Yeah. So click then tables in CyberDB database. Then 3 tables: class, enroll, and students. That is available. So upper row here, select database, and this upper row, in this together, the row, first row and second row together is the upper frame. And then bottom here, that is the lower frame. In the upper frame, the first row has a drop-down menu. In the second row, then we have here so-called the text field, but in Python it is called entry. This entry, if you type something here, then it can be you can type here something. So first row is done, and the next one is we make a label. enter on SQL. So we have here enter on SQL, and that was in the upper frame, the row 1. It could be row 1 or row 2. Oh, this is the second row, because from here this is a row 0, and now this is row 1. Second row in the first column, we write the text, and then the next objects on the same row, that is entry. So entry, that is still in upper row, upper frame, but the second column. Their text variable is a user SQL. We have to define this is like a dictionary format, right? Text variable equals, and this is user SQL. User SQL, we defined user SQL. Type of user SQL is nothing but string var, string variable. This is very important. You have to do that. And then when user enter something, some SQL, then it can, that SQL goes into this user SQL. That user SQL is sent to another function called SQL Execution. So C equals cursor, D equals user SQL. So D user SQL, it invoke SQL Execution. This SQL Execution's invocation specifies an argument. One of the argument is user SQL. So let's go and see SQL Execution. If you come here, this is SQL executions. That SQL variable, we need to get the value, and then we call it SQL expression. We list that here, and then use the given database. We need to make sure that is in that database, and then execute this SQL statements. And then cursor again points to the list of the result. Then for list in the list of the result, then for each row in the returning list, then we display that in that this box. This is a display. Display we insert. You should say and, comma, and then whatever you want to display. Here the placeholder, then you need to put ELE. So in the first list, in the first record, in each record there is a number of the attributes, right? So attribute, so vertical bar list at write one attribute, and then tab, and goes on the same line, continue to write all. And if you want to hit the next line for the next record, then you need to do here insert. Here insert, this is a keyword. And then yeah, at the end of this, you need to make a vertical bar, and next line, then it goes next line. And after you do this all, then you need to make another extra empty line. Then you need to do display insert, and this insert keyword, and \n, which is a new line. This is a SQL execution. Right here, before we do this, when we come here, drop down tables, then we need to get here the fetch table, so table list of tables. Then for each record in that list of tables, then we need to display it. So we have here first we say table in database. So table in CyberDB database, and then we list the table names with the vertical bar and tab. So vertical bar and table name, tab, vertical bar table name tab to next tab and vertical bar table name. When this list of table is done, then we close that with another vertical bar and new line, another vertical bar and new line, and then extra new lines. So here now we need to we are ready to do select star from one of the tables here. So student, and then if you click execute, then it repeats the SQL statements. Here display SQL statements. I think I need to make here a new line. In that way, after this, it can be a new line. So, so whatever the attributes available in that students listed here, for each attribute, first value, the vertical bar first value, tab to next tab, vertical bar, and then value, and vertical bar and value. Okay, so that is listed like this. So yeah, if you want to send the variable to in response to the button, like here, drop down, or particularly button, if you want to send the variables, then you need to use the Lambda functions. So saying that Lambda has one variable events, and it goes to next. Or you can say command equal Lambda and then two variables, you name it C and D, and when you invoke the function, you can place that functions here. C for cursor and D for user SQL. So when you go up here, then first one is cursor, second one is SQL. Okay, so that is done. And this button needs to be the first row and second column. It's not necessarily a button itself. Yeah, button here. On here, this is the first object, first, second, and third. So row number 2, column number 2. And then the lower frame, that should be in the text field. So it can be, this object is not a button, it's not a entry, it's not drop down. This is a text. So we call that text. We call it display. This is a text, call it display. And into that display, we make here, I want to insert in this way. Okay. So this is a first graphical user interface exercise that can connect to database and receive a command from you to execute within the database and return the result and display. We can expand this. Knowing this and gaining the skill of graphical user interface Python codings, then you can expand it further. For example, something that's not available in Python's or MySQL authentications, authorizations, that kind of things can be enhanced using graphical user interface. All right, that's it. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.